Paging the lead singer to the stage. Lead singer to the stage, please. All right, thank you. All right, well, I mentioned that we have a new record coming out in just a few short months. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty exciting. We're in the midst of finalizing things, and so we thought we'd play you one of the songs off of there. So we're going to play a brand new song that no one else has heard, certainly on this side of the border. I don't know how much you know about Winnipeg. I was once in the United States, and someone asked me where I was from. And I said, I'm from Winnipeg, and they looked blank. And I said, Manitoba, and they looked blank. And I said, Canada. And he said, oh, wow, you're from all those places. He didn't realize that was all the same place. And Winnipeg is often called the Chicago of the North. It was developing at the same time as Chicago for a lot of the same reasons. And during Prohibition, guys like Al Capone had hideaways up in Winnipeg. And there's a lot of bootlegging going back and forth. And so we have often movies are shot in Winnipeg, and it's meant to look like Chicago. It has a lot of the same Greco-Roman style architecture. And it's quite beautiful. And although I think they could do a better job, they've done a pretty good job of keeping some of those heritage buildings. And one of them in Winnipeg is called the Roslyn. And the Roslyn is this like kind of rite of passage. It's been an apartment block for well over 100 years. And it's one of those places that it seems like everyone has lived in or has had a friend who's lived in. And it's got the oldest working elevator in Western Canada. So it's this thing that doesn't look like it should work. It's bars, and it's completely open. And, you know, it's amazing to think about all the things that have happened in there over the years. And I'm sure at the bottom there's nothing but keys and change from people who dangled it outside of the bars. But anyway, it's quite a unique place, and it's definitely what falls under the category of character apartments. And because there's a bunch of characters in this band, we thought we would write an ode to the Roslyn Apartments. And my cousin lives there right now, and we were sitting there one day, and we were discussing, as men will do, what if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Daniel actually has a pretty good one.
I would be able to throw things with great accuracy.
I think that's pretty cool. Like, just you could like,
Yeah,
can you
anything.
turn the lights off? It's all the way across the room. No, got it.
Throw my pick, and it would just knock things off. Or the wine glass that you just cleaned, and it's supposed to go at the very top of the shelf, at the very back. Just like somehow toss it in.
You could just
and it would
without
just
breaking.
land delicately.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, quite.
So I thought that was a pretty good one. But mine would be I would wish for the ability to be able to touch any part of a building and immediately know its entire history. I don't know, I'm a big history buff, so that's what I would like. So we were sitting in the Roslyn Apartments debating this, and that's where the song came from. It's called The Words of the Walls, and it's about the Roslyn Apartments. I think this will be one of the first songs we release from our new album. So here's a sneak peek.
No, it will be. We just filmed a video for it.
This is like the single.
2
I just
days
didn't want
before
to
we
say
left
it
on
'cause
tour.
It sounds kind of.
First nights and last days, the occasional new pain. The floors look better, a little scuffed and scarred. Seems over the long years, everyone's lived here. Rode the elevator, paid a bars. How does it still run? It's carried everyone getting a start in these character apartments. The rooms at the Roslyn have seen it all. The birth of the stories, sorrows and glories. If you could only hear the words of the walls.
Here's the second verse.
A lost lover's laughter and the tears that came after. all the different ships that pass in the night. And the same square of sun never fails to come. So warm and a little too bright, shines till the day is done, making way for the next one's getting a start. These character apartments, the rooms at the Roslyn have seen it all. The birth of the stories, the sorrows and glories. If you could only hear the words of the walls, lessons learned, counters burned by the candles blazing at both ends. Barely paid the rent till the time was spent, and cardboard boxes came out again. Corrugated bookends. The timeless transcendence of young independence never gets old though the lease is done. Another moving day comes, making a way for the next one, setting a start in these character apartments. The rooms at the Roslyn have seen it all. The birth of the stories, the sorrows and glories. If you could only hear the words of the walls, if you could only hear the words of the walls, if you could only hear the words of the walls.
We did it. There's a lot going on in that song, so it's always like, can we do it? Can we do it? And we kind of did. All right. You may have noticed Sam was right on it. Sam's the younger gentleman walking around, right? Where'd he go? Oh, darn. Well, I had to admire his confidence. He walked right up when we opened up the merch case and took a kazoo and walked away. I was like, wow, we were just robbed, and he just did it so. But anyway, he was actually going, I think, over here to ask permission. But I thought it was like, boy, that was the most blatant robbery I've ever seen. Like, I was totally fine with
He
it.
actually went like this. He took the kazoo and he walked by and he went,
Yeah.
took
It's
it,
like,
showed it
I'm
to us.
s-
It was like, yeah, this is
you-
mine now.
You just got shanked. And so
Yeah, I'm not even mad.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
yeah, exactly.
I was like, no, he can have it. Yeah. It's just like, wow, we're not in Canada anymore. Yeah. All that to say is this next song will actually feature the kazoos that we also sell. And the kazoos are a very multifaceted instrument. It's a great instrument if you're a duck hunter on the cheap. It's great if you don't have the patience to learn the trumpet. You can just get a kazoo instead. It's also a really great instrument if you have friends with kids and they keep sending their kids over. If you want this to stop, just send their kids home with kazoos, and they'll never get sent over again. It's a dirty trick, but it works.
Right.
Our letters from angry parents have gone up exponentially with every kazoo we've given away. So Sam's parents tomorrow are going to be writing to us, I'm sure. Anyway, this song features a lead kazoo solo from the one and only Sheena, and twice as ridiculous as that is the fact that Daniel will play the rhythm kazoo.
The rhythm kazoo.
The rhythm kazoo. So this is called The Hypothetical Girl, and it goes like this. Talking about good vibrations. Well, I'm not sure, but if I had to guess, I'd say she's out there somewhere in her Sunday dress. She's sitting on a porch with a faraway smile. She likes to laugh, she loves to sing. She don't get too fussed about anything. With hair that shines and legs that go for miles. See? Yeah, but she's my sweet something, maybe. A theoretical lady. Yeah, she's my hypothetical girl. move out to Redmond to go to school. She's gonna be out looking pretty, see me playing the fool through a crack in the crowd. I'm gonna catch her eye. I'll know that face right straight away, 'cause in the middle of the night I seen her clear as day. Yes, but when I woke, you know I nearly cried, because she's my sweet something maybe, a theoretical lady. Yeah, she's my hypothetical girl. Is she the only one there is for me? Well, I guess we're gonna have to just wait and see. All right, folks, here's the lead kazoo solo. You better watch out. Talk about getting a buzz on. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Oshina and the Dancing Girls. My sweet something maybe. Oh, a theoretical lady. Hey, she's my sweet something maybe.
Nice moves.
Theoretical lady. Oh, she's my hypothetical girl. I'd like to give it a whirl. I really hope she's a girl. It's hypothetical. Thank you. Wonderful dancing.
Wonderful dancing.
Ridiculous noise making.
Bravo, bravo. Brava, brava. This is a dancey one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
All right. We thought we would. And let's just do. Start.
Oh, we're not going to do perform right now? But they're dancing. They're dancing. No, we should do Kellogg.
Okay. We had a band meeting, and we decided we would continue playing a song with a beat so the dancers could keep going.
But you have to keep dancing. Well, you can do whatever you want because of freedom and stuff, but you should keep dancing.
Because of America. Founding fathers.
Said you can
Constitution.
dance and not dance when you want to or not want to.
The founding fathers were far too square to dance, but you folks, you're doing it even better. Square
Yeah.
dancing.
Oh.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Very good, very good.
So, it's really awesome to be coming down to America because it's a completely, it's not dissimilar from the way that we live up in Canada, except that some of us dodged your draft. Kidding. There's a great number of different cultures that have come together in the melting pot that is America, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. The one nation under God and how you've all become Americans. It's a really incredible thing. Whereas we have the tapestry in Canada where all these different cultures are all living together in harmony, as opposed to all becoming Canadians first and foremost. They still maintain their individual cultures and they hold that dear to their hearts. And my family is no exception. I guess I'm fourth generation Canadian. 75% of these my ancestors came from France, and so I have a strong heritage of being a Franco-Manitoban or a French Canadian. And Canada's pretty interesting also because we do have two official languages, French being the other official language aside from English. And there's only one province that's officially bilingual, New Brunswick, way in the east. There's Quebec, which is fully francophone, and then all the other provinces are all Anglophone as their first language. So living in a province that is in majority English and in a small minority francophone, it's been difficult to sort of continue living my life as a francophone in my everyday existence. Fortunately, there's a large group of individuals that are still holding this dear to their hearts. And though we're few and far between, it's a very strong link because mostly I'd like to thank my mother for that and her militant insistence that we make sure that that culture is carried on through us, and now because of my nephew through another generation as well. In fact, they cared about it so much that they decided to homeschool us. They thought that the French immersion programs in our public schools in our particular rural area were inadequate. They're not up to their standards. So they homeschooled us despite being farmers, having full-time jobs outside of farming as well. They held their kids back from that aspect of public life and really granted us every possible opportunity that they could have. And I'm eternally grateful for that, although my social skills may suffer because of it. That's all right. You didn't notice that, but your personal bubbles are being... yeah.
The other thing that's kind of tough about being homeschooled is when it comes to prom. It's like, who do you ask? You know, it gets weird.
Mom?
We weren't involved in those barbaric rituals.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid
But
English.
rather, our parents never wanted to instill in us the concept of the other. They didn't want us to think of Anglophones as them and us as us. We're really just all one big family, but some of us have different ways of living their lives. So French was my first language, and it's also, I guess, my first love. And so when my mother hammered in the final lessons into the crate, I guess that was our personalities, the final lesson was culture survives because of art. So I really took that to heart, and I thought, what better way to contribute to the great library of Francophone art than to write a song in the way that I know best. So I wrote this tune, and it's called Qu'allons-nous faire? It means, what are we going to do? And essentially, through metaphor, it tells the story of the language when it first arrived in the New World with les voyageurs, those big burly Frenchmen that were paddling from Montreal all the way to the Red River floodplains to trade with the Aboriginals. They initially just went into trade and came back, but then some of them overwintered and intermarried with the Aboriginals there and ended up staying. So it was one of the first European languages to actually take hold in the New World. And the story continues on through the difficulties that it has managed to endure, all the different wars and borders being pushed back and forth, colonies being built and destroyed, until finally today I get to take this language with me all across Canada, all across the great nation, now down into America to see if there are other francophones out there. Does anyone here speak French? No? I just made that rash assumption. But I get to carry it with me everywhere, and it's sort of like...
Come on.
Vous parlez français? Un peu, comme ci, comme ça. D'abord, je dédie cette chanson à vous. This this song is dedicated to you in that case. If you even have a few little aspects, little bits of the French language in your tongue, then you already have the taste for it, and I hope that you continue for more. So, qu'allons-nous faire? What are we going to do when our way of life is slowly being eroded away? How do we expect to raise our children in the same way that we were once raised?
Il y avait longtemps quand la terre était nouvelle, que si on en voulait promener, se prenait le temps de pleine lune pour se rendre à l'autre bord de la vallée. Mais tu changes une journée d'automne quand prend notre air de chevalier, par poste militaire ou poste de caractère, où tout de lui la difficulté. Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons-nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Ils enlevaient le Seigneur et notre Père et divisaient le monde en carrés. Tous ceux qui ne voulaient pas s'enfuir pour les risques de se faire dompter. On fait un berger, mis son pied à terre et avec un air de joie et dédié, rassembla le troupeau de ses frères pour cet âge assez mal questionné. Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons-nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Il y avait longtemps quand la terre était nouvelle, que si on en voulait promener, se prenait le temps de pleine lune pour se rendre à l'autre bord de la vallée. Pendant des années, le troupeau est assoiffé, le cri de bataille s'adoucit, par exprès ou par chanson, mais par persistance, un jour le troupeau se réunit. Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons-nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux? Sans pâturage ni fontaine, qu'allons nous faire sans pâturage ni fontaine? Comment soigner les agneaux?
Merci.
Danielle Pelikan-Hoffner, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, okay, sure.
So we did we were on the road for 62 days this past summer playing folk festivals all throughout Eastern Canada.
It's a long time.
And every folk festival we went to this year had a tribute show for from one of the granddaddies, the pioneers, the absolute mavens of the folk world, and he was from your side of the border, and that of course would be the extremely great and now the late Pete Seeger. And it was amazing for us because I gotta admit that I really didn't know a whole lot of his catalog outside of those really the obvious ones, Where Have All the Flowers Gone and stuff like that. So digging through his catalog to find some of the songs to play at these tributes at these different folk festivals was a real education, and showed me exactly what a song, how much it can actually mean, how deep it can be, and what it can do in terms of social context. And for a guy who made music, he was born in 1914. For 95 years, was the voice of the American and North American, maybe even civil rights movement, and speaking for the people. It's amazing how relevant so many of his songs remain today, and especially in light of things like that UN climate summit here in the States and stuff like that, and the things that we face as a global community. It can seem pretty dark sometimes, and it's one of those things where you look back into the vaults and you find a song like the one we're going to play for you by Pete Seeger, and you realize things may look dark, but as long as we're all talking about it and we're working together, there is actually a lot of hope, and it's important not to forget the hope in the midst of challenges and things that we all have to work together on. So we're going to play a song of hope for you, and this is one by the great Pete Seeger. Even though it's a folk song, I'm going to tune the guitar because he deserves it. I say about folk musicians, they spend half the time tuning and the other half of the time playing out of tune.
Perfect pitch for an acoustic guitar is when you pick it up and throw it into the garbage can and it hits the accordion.
You know it's darkest before the dawn. It's this thought keeps me moving on. If we could heed these early warnings, the time is now, quite early morning. If we could heed these early warnings, the time is now, quite early morning. Some say that humankind won't long endure, but what makes them so doggone sure? I know that you who hear my singing could make those freedom bells go ringing. I know that you who hear my singing could make those freedom bells go ringing. And so keep on while we live, until we have no more to give. And when these fingers can't strum no longer, hand the old banjo to young ones stronger. And when these fingers can't strum no longer, hand the old banjo to young ones stronger. You know it's darkest before the dawn. It's this that keeps me moving on through all this world of joy and sorrow. We still can have singing tomorrows through all this world of joy and sorrow. We still can have singing tomorrows if we could heed these early warnings. The time is now, quite early morning. If we could heed these early warnings, the time is now, quite early morning. Thanks.
That's
Great
Pete Seeger for you.
Seeger.
All right, I think we got time for just two more. How are we doing for time? Two more? We're gonna do two more. We're gonna do 2/5 of 5 of our songs, and that'll work out to 2. We had a late that made sense, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We got to start using the imperial
Right.
conversions here. That's
Yeah.
all fractions.
Okay, right. So 2/5 of the King's Foot is how long I'm going to keep talking for till that make no sense. We had a late walk-in over here, this woman on the couch, and she was in Valley Village, and now she's on her phone, and now she knows I'm talking about her. And she said that somebody had given her tip that if she comes here, she'll laugh and she'll cry.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much. You could get commission on whatever she pays into that tip jar. And when she said she was going to laugh and she was going to cry, so we better play her a sad song, and we better have made use of that guitar, because we brought it all this way. So we're going to get Daniel on the guitar for this second last song, and my guess would be, judging from the huge jam that erupted the second we got here, that most of you in this room are musicians or artistics of some sort. And then you'll know that sometimes an idea comes, and it's just the germ, it's just the seed of an idea. It has to generate into something larger, and it takes a long time in watering and cultivation. And then other times, it's like lightning strikes, and an idea comes in fully formed and springs forth like Athena, fully grown from the head. And when that happens, it feels more like channeling than writing, and it's a really amazing thing. And this song was an experience of the latter variety. And it's about a young woman who I don't think I've never met, but must exist, because quite often people come up to me after the song and say, I know that story that you were just singing about. So this one's called Come Home, and it's appropriate for a place that we've never been to that we feel so at home already. So this is called Come Home, and it's off our first CD as well. Sorry, you've brought intercontinental instruments to the coast, and they're not happy about it.
They've made a long journey over these last 4 days. From the belly of a plane. Little Wilhelmina was abandoned in circumstances imagined to be tragic. Maybe magic was involved, like her parents met an evil witch who took the baby and made a switch for cabbage, and so managed to escape. And so she waits for these gates to be opened, and the faces she's hoping she'll know. This pain will fade on the day that somebody will say, come home, Willie, come home, Willie, will she come home? The years dragged on, the dream had faded. She grew up so pretty and jaded, changed her name to Carrie. Finally she turned 21, so desperate to find someone to help her carry the weight. But she can't wait, so the dates that she goes on always end with no clothes on. She hates what she sees in the mirror, when all she really wanted to hear was, come home, Carrie, come home, Carrie, I'll carry you home. Lines made her a doubter. The lines she's after now are powder. Her jewelry says candy. Her platinum hair falls to the deck. It's the neighbors calling the paramedics. All they can do is start an IV and wait. And so they wait for her vitals to change, and no one knows her name, and it's late. So the nurses on deck read the word around her neck, and so softly they plead, come home, Candy, come home, Candy, can she come home? Come home, can she come home? That not all of us get the same kind of love. Is it fate, or maybe it's fear? But the last thing that little Willie hears is, come home, will she come home? Come home, will she come home? Come home, will she come home? Come home, Willie, come home, Willie, will she come home?
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's the saddest song we know.
That's not true.
Um,
Not true.
It's the second saddest song we know. We got in trouble for playing the saddest song we know. Everybody just died of tragedy right on the spot. It was horrible. So
That never happened.
that never happened. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. Okay, we're going to end with a song that is very uplifting. And we'd like to say thank you so much for all of you for being here tonight. And I think it's worthwhile thanking our hosts for the evening again. Thank you so much, Soul Food, and all the people behind the bar. And thank you so much, Kevin.
I want to say Tyler and Aaron. So no, there's no Tyler? You're Tyler, yeah. And Aaron is great, perfect. And they're brothers. Wow. They're not brothers.
We actually walked into a house concert once, and I introduced myself first. I said, "Hello, I'm Daniel," and then he said to the host, "Hello, I'm Daniel," and she said, "Are you brothers?" And we were kind of like, yes, our parents were just very uncreative.
Our parents were George Foreman. Do you know that George Foreman actually named like all 6 of his sons George Foreman? That's sorry. Girls included?
Well, at least when you grill them on their names, it's easy to remember. No? Oh,
Wow. Bucket of fish.
Yeah, okay.
All
Boy,
right,
that was really
stop
bad.
talking and
All
play
right.
music.
Okay, so anyway, we really appreciate it again. Like I said, please find us online. We're on Facebook and Twitter. We're on all the things. We're on redmondroad.com, and we're going to be playing all the way down the Western Seaboard. And if you know anybody along the way, we'd love if you would send them out to the show. And we really appreciate that kind of grassroots involvement. This is our first time. I don't know if this got communicated properly, but this is our first official paying legal show in the United States ever. It's here. It's right now. So. And you've made it very wonderful, so thank you. And if you could find us online and support us, we'll come back and see you again. And we'd love if you would do so. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So we're going to leave you with a song from our upcoming album, which by the time we come back here, we'll have for you. And so we thought we'd give you one last sneak peek. So this is going to be off the new one, and it's a song by Daniel. And I hear for Farmer Boy, you've come to the right place, because there's lots of agriculture in the area, isn't there? Is that right?
Drove past a lot of cornfields. Made me feel right at home. Oh, yeah.
You should see our tour schedule.
We don't really know where we're going, and it's kind of frightful also. Also worth mentioning, if you do want to keep up with us and you don't do social media, please sign up for our mailing list.
Yes.
If you have an email address and that's your only connection to the internet, do so. We will not harass you with all sorts of lengthy, unnecessary emails. We just want to be in touch and don't want you to miss out the next time that we're through, because we'd love to see you again. So this tune is called Breathing Slow, and I wrote it because my grandfather, who was the first of all of my dad's side to be born in the New World, and the last of his family. He's the youngest, and the only one to be born in Canada. He was born in Lake Lenore, Saskatchewan, which is a bit of a misnomer because there's no lake at all, really. It's just flat and grassy, and there's really nothing there to speak of. And so when there was some tensions with the locals there, with these freshly immigrated German family, they decided to uproot and move east into Manitoba. And my grandfather loves recalling this story because he tells me, Daniel, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I've never seen a lake or a river or even a stream except in picture books. So when he came to St. Rose, it was absolutely heaven to him. That was his greener grass on the other side. And looking back at that and hearing that story, it made me realize that everything is relative in that sense as well, because growing up on that same very farm that he broke that land with his bare hands, and then my father subsequently after him kept it going. And so what I knew of this land was pretty much, my entire life, and my greener pastures were what I saw on the television or heard on the radio about the big city and all these other like-minded thinking individuals. So I got to thinking, what would life have been like, or what sort of adventures my grandfather might have been on had he been granted the same opportunities that his hard labor, my father's hard labor, have granted me, being able to gallivant all across this country playing music for you fine folks. He's a fine musician in his own right, and in the winter times when there wasn't a whole lot going on, once the machinery had been stored for the winter and the grain had been shipped away, they spent all their time playing music. So that sort of ran down through the family. I guess it's culminated in me. I'd be remiss not to mention my grandmother as well, because as everyone knows, the hardest working person on the farm is the woman. Her work is never at an end, and when the man comes home and puts his feet up, she's doing laundry and cooking, etc. Never mind taking care of the children. So the two characters in this song escape the farm in their own right and in their own way to make their way to another adventure in the city, and the troubles that they find there end up being largely one and the same. I guess in the whole, the song's about passing on the mistakes that you've made and the knowledge that you've garnered to the next generation before it's lost. So this is called Breathing Slow. young boy lifting loads fit for men, set to leave the farm behind at the harvest's end. Well, grandfather caught me staring at the open road as we stood there in the fields that we had sowed. Said that road is long and hard with many twists and turns. Big mistakes, boy, you will make, but from them you must learn. So always hold your head high, speak your language loud. Don't look back and make your father proud. Breathing slow on the last of a dying ember. My memory has failed and I'm trying to remember what I know, that I may pass it on, for death will come to take me before long.
When I was just a young girl hanging clothes out on the line, whistling a melody and taking my sweet time, grandmother scolded me as she squinted at the sun. She said a woman's work is never done. She worried I would not marry, that my heart was too wild. I should be making some man's home and carrying his child. But my dreams were too big to fit inside a wedding gown, so I packed my bags and headed into town.
Breathing slow on the last of a dying ember. My memory has failed and I'm trying to remember what I know, that I may pass it on, for death will come to take me before long. Well, I followed and I strayed from that long and winding road,
Living out my life on the path that I have chosen.
I stepped up to the bar to try to make myself a friend.
I stepped out on the stage as the night began again. Through the smoke and music I looked around the hall, recognizing every face and knowing none at all. I thought about the folks I'd left behind so long ago. If I went back now, what would I have to show? You must know where you're coming from to know where you are bound. I'm sound of heart and sound of mind, my feet are on the ground. So I'll keep pushing onward, for my fire is burning yet, with the lessons I swore never to forget. Breathing slow on the last of a dying ember. My memory has failed and I'm trying to remember what I know, that I may pass it on, for death will come to take me before long. For death will come to take me before long.
Folks, thanks very much for having us for Red Moon Road from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Well, thank you. One more? Should we do one? All right. Well, okay. You don't got to do that. My hat barely fits as it is. It's all right. This gentleman right here, you're from, where are you born again? Kentucky, and you spent some time in Tennessee, is that right? All right, so we got a song for you. And we may be Canadians, but we know something about American music, too. You know, we actually don't know that one. That's kind of embarrassing. But
Yet.
we will next time.
Yet. We're doing our research here.
But
yeah, this is a research expedition, not a tour.
That's right. I do think, though, that you will know this one, so feel free to sing along here. I get Daniel to sing the state anthem of a certain state that I'm not going to give away, but I think I already have. But anyway, you'll know the song, and it's about a way of life gone by. He's a dancer, so get ready.
All right. Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Well, once two strangers climbed over the Rocky Top looking for a moonshine still. Them strangers ain't come down from the Rocky Top, I reckon they never will. Well, corn don't grow up on old Rocky Top, the dirt's too rocky by far. By all them folks on a Rocky Top get their corn from a jar. Rocky Top,
You'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top.
Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Okay, last one. I cut out for this city life. I feel like a dog in a pen. All I know's that it's a pity life can't be simple again. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We'll see you again.
God bless America.